Thank you, Mia. Today we celebrate an important innovation in statistical research with the three laureates, Yoav Beniamini, Daniel Yekutili, and Ruth Heller. This is the second edition of the Statistics Prize that I sponsor, and I'm happy that the jury selected the false discovery rate methodology. And so far, everyone I talked with has applauded this outcome. The goal of the prize is to award pioneering work in statistical methodology. By this we mean an outstanding contribution that has had significant impact and found wide application in statistical practice. The innovation being honored this year amply satisfies these requirements. You will get a nice overview of this work during the ceremony. Currently, statistics faces a bit of an identity crisis due to a naming game that's going on. There used to be a widely held but incorrect view that statistics would be dull and static. Therefore, other names for statistics were tried, hoping to shake off this image. One of these was data mining, which did not take over. Then in 1985, the statistician Jeff Wu coined the term data science as a new name for statistics that should evoke its dynamic nature. Unfortunately, some people interpreted that term somewhat differently. To clarify the subject of the prize, we define statistics as the science and technology of obtaining useful information from data, taking its variability into account. That includes what most people call data science. It also includes those machine learning methods that perform classification or make predictions. It has been an interesting year for awards for data science, in particular for machine learning. The Nobel Prize in Chemistry went in part to Demis Hassabis and John Jumper, two people at Google who developed AlphaFold, a sophisticated machine learning algorithm for predicting the structure of proteins. And this year, the Nobel Prize in Physics went to machine learning as well, to John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton. So overall, data science research has received a lot of recognition, but unfortunately the work was not called statistics or data science. Instead it was labeled as chemistry and physics. We should not underestimate the importance of awards. The existence of a major award has an encouraging effect on the field. The fact that some disciplines have Nobel Prizes has certainly helped them, as the visibility of such a prize sparks the imagination, which attracts students, bright researchers, and funding. The Turing Award is beneficial to computer science in the same way. But although we are heavy users of computer science, we do not consider ourselves computer scientists. It's generally accepted that statistics is a standard tool of science and that results need to be validated by statistical criteria. Therefore, most curricula of higher education will contain an introductory course on basic statistics. This is essential, but not always appreciated by students. Often they get the impression that statistics is a cookbook of old rules that are set in stone, whereas in reality it's a dynamic field that constantly evolves. Research in statistical methodology has yielded many advances to humanity, but in the past it did not receive a lot of recognition. Part of this is due to the complexity of the subject and also to the typical modesty among statisticians. We are often being cast in a supporting role to entities that obtain much data, and they need our help to draw conclusions from it. But we, as statisticians, are actually the developers of the tools for assisting them, which we can do because of our experience across many different application areas. By statistical research, we create a large knowledge base and tool set whose value is often underestimated. The kind of support that mathematics provides to physics is paralleled by the support that statistics offers to all areas of science, as well as to business, industry, and government. In the long run, it's hoped that the prize we organize promotes awareness of the important role and intellectual content of statistics and its profound impact on human endeavors. We are grateful to the King Baudouin Foundation for acting as the home of the prize. They have a lot of experience with awards, and its CEO, Vieux Van Damme, will hand out the medals today. We would like to thank the 10 members of the international jury appointed by the King Baudouin Foundation, and in particular its chairman, David Hand, who will introduce today's laureates. Personally, I'm very grateful to Mia Hubert and Stefan van Aalst, who did a lot of work with all parties involved during the past year. Mia has been generous in thanking many people, but the organization of this ceremony was to a large extent her achievement. I should explain that the jury can only choose between the nominations that have been received. So to all the statisticians in the audience, here or online, if you feel that a certain topic or theme is deserving of the prize, do send in a nomination. The nominations for the third edition will be due a year from now, by the end of 2025. The call for nominations will again be announced in the newsletters of statistical societies and on the website of the prize, as well as on social media. The rules of the prize pay attention to diversity of topics. We made a rough division of statistics in 5 subfields, and the intention is that they all get exposure. The first prize went to biostatistics and the current one to general methodology. That leaves the following wide areas for nominating: computational statistics, statistics in the physical science and industry, and statistics in economics and humanities. But for now, do sit back to enjoy the presentations of today's celebration. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so following the rules of the Rousseeuw Prize for Statistics, the King Baudouin Foundation appointed an international jury for the selection of the winning contribution. The jury members covered the 5 subfields of statistics already mentioned by Peter, and also reflects geographic and gender diversity. The jury consisted of the following 10 reputed statisticians. As already mentioned, the chair of the jury was David Hand, Professor Emeritus of Imperial College London. And the other members in alphabetical order were Lutger de Buydens, she's Professor Emeritus of Radboud University Nijmegen, Probal Chaudhuri, Professor of the Indian Statistical Institute, Roger Kunker, Professor Emeritus of University of Illinois, and also Honorary Professor of Economics at University College London, Steve Marin, the Amos Hawley Distinguished Professor of Statistics and Operations Research at the University of North Carolina, Cynthia Rudin, Gilbert Lewis and Edward Lehrman Distinguished Professor of Computer Science at Duke University, Louise Ryan, Distinguished Professor at the University of Technology, Sydney, David Steinberg, Professor of Tel Aviv University. Since David had the same affiliation as the awardees of one of the nominated innovations that turned out to be the winning contribution in the end, he naturally abstained from voting. Maria Pia Victoria Faeser, Professor at the University of Bologna, and finally Judy Wang, Professor of George Washington University. We are glad that some of them are also present here today. I now give the floor to Vieux Van Damme, the CEO of the King Baudouin Foundation, which is the home institution of the prize.
Good afternoon, everyone. Professors, Professor Rousseeuw, of course, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to be back at my alma mater to be awarding such a prestigious prize with a promising future. So very happy to be here, and thank you very much for the trust in the King Baudouin Foundation. I'm deeply honored to be present or to present the 2024 Rousseeuw Prize for Statistics on behalf of KBF. One of our missions as a philanthropic institution is to go out and find people and issues that, for whatever reason, may have been overlooked by society at large. Now, that may seem an odd reflection when we celebrate the achievements of such renowned academics as our laureates today. But when Peter Rousseeuw first approached us with the idea of this award, we very quickly understood where he was coming from. Other disciplines, as you mentioned earlier, have very high profile prizes and medals. Yet statistics, despite its very wide use and exponential applications, lacked that recognition. It will be to Peter's eternal credit that he persevered in establishing the Rousseeuw Prize, for which it is our honor to assist in the administration, along with our friends here in Leuven. As an economist who's worked on public health, I know how vital good statistics are to delivering the best result for each person and to the delivery of social goods, as a matter of fact. That makes it a real thrill to say that this afternoon I'm literally seeing the faces behind the statistics. I also love that in his background note on the prize, when Peter reminds us that statistics is the science of obtaining useful information from data, which is what you mentioned earlier as well, he then adds, rather pointedly, people often underestimate the difficulty of doing this well due to the ease of doing it poorly. Professor, those of us who've relied on good statistical analysis to make progress in our own disciplines, whether it be economics or medicine or computing or astronomy or whatever, believe me, we are forever in debt to the excellence in statistics that helps us get past the falsehood to the truth, which is, of course, what this prize is all about. The work of Professor Benjamini, Yekutieli, and Heller, present here, and of their late colleague, Professor Hochberg, goes to the heart of one of today's biggest challenges. Now that we have big data sets that we could once only dream of, how do we sort out, from all the many correlations they may throw up, which ones are actually worth following up? When I read the prize citation, I thought of those peasant scenes drawn from our countryside around here hundreds of years ago, where harvesters are bringing sheaves of grain to be threshed and winnowed. Many scientists today would still be puzzling over giant haystacks of data, going around in circles looking for the needle of relevance if it weren't for Benjamini Hochberg's procedure and its related tools that allow our modern day harvesters to winnow the wheat from the chaff, to zoom in on what looks most promising and ditch the false discoveries. But ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I'm on a bit of thin ice here, not being a statistician myself. So before I stray too far down an intellectual road for which I am not qualified, allow me to invite our 2024 Rousseeuw Prize laureates, Professors Benjamini, Yekutieli, and Heller of Tel Aviv University, to speak about their own research. I thank you.